Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I see some early attendees. That's fantastic, but we're going to wait a couple more minutes for more people to join us. So in the meantime, for the participants that have joined the webinar already, we would love to learn more about you guys. If you could just introduce yourself on chat, let us know from where in the world you're joining us from today, what Nexford program are you interested in. We'd love to learn more about you. Hey, we have Ashana from Ghana. Amazing. Thanks for joining us today. We have Nadia from South Africa. Okay, you just got accepted for the BBA program. That's super exciting. Congratulations. We have Silhouette from Nigeria. I love that name. I don't think I've heard that before. And you're interested in the MBA program. Wonderful. Okay, we have a couple learners or a couple aspiring learners anyway from Nigeria. We've got from Kenya, Tobias. And you're interested in a BBA starting December 1. Okay, fantastic. Then I hope you know you're to enroll hopefully by the 27th, so you can join that intake. We have Fatumata from Mali. Amazing. We have Bala from Nigeria. Okay, we have a lot of people from all around the world today. I see Nepal, I see Ethiopia. This is fantastic. Thanks, guys, for introducing yourselves. We have Burkina Faso. Hello, Adishina. Okay, wonderful. A lot of people are into the BBA, and I don't see that often. Often we have a lot of people interested in studying our MBA, so this is great. Maldives. We've got Faisal from Maldives. This is amazing, guys. So we're really having a global webinar today, I would say. All right. Thanks so much, guys, for introducing yourselves. I feel like we waited enough time for people to join us, and perhaps we can officially start our webinar. So just to let you know, guys, this is being recorded. So at any point, if you're having technical difficulties or you need to, log out of the webinar or anything like that, you can ask our team for a recording of the webinar so you don't miss out on all the information that we share in the virtual tour. And of course, we are here also to answer your questions today. So please make sure to send in your questions in the Q&A box of the webinar. And with that, let me introduce myself. My name is Mai, and I'm a Nexford advisor. I've been with Nexford for over 3 years now. And during that time, I've spoken with so many different aspiring learners from all around the world. We've got learners from over 95 countries around the world now. So you can imagine. And one of the most common questions I get is, how exactly am I going to be studying online at Nexford? How is the online learning experience like? And that's exactly what we're here to do today, to tell you more about that, to answer any questions that you have. And I've got some lovely people on board today to help me with this webinar. We've got a faculty member, Dr. Bill. We've also got 2 learners from around the world. We've got Jason and Wisdom. So I'd love for them to introduce themselves as well. If we can please start with Dr. Bill.
Hello, everyone. Very nice to meet all of you. Thank you for joining us today. I am Dr. Bill. I've been with Next for just over 2 years, and my area is in the business and management domains. I live just a little south of New York City, about 100 kilometers south of New York City along the shoreline. And I've been working in online education for about 23 years. So if there's anything I can share with you with what I've learned over the years, I'd be happy to ask questions later. We have some very fine people here that can help answer questions for you. Those who've been through the program, myself and my between all of us, we have a lot of experience here at Nexford, and hopefully we can give you some insights and some thinking points to consider as you decide on how you want to proceed. But welcome, and be happy to talk to you a little bit later on about the BBA, the MBA, or whichever program you're interested in. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Bill. If we can also please hear from Jason, if you can please tell us a bit about yourself, where in the world you're joining us from today, and what Nexford program you study.
Hi, everybody. I actually live in Bangkok, Thailand. Moved here in 2010 to do business. I was born and raised in the United States, so I'm an American living abroad, doing business internationally. My first degree was in graphic design with a business minor, but I noticed I really needed to kind of upskill. I'm an older learner, so I would like to encourage those of you who may feel like you're a little bit older, that it's never too late to become a new learner again. So I joined the MBA program, finished with my MBA program in, I believe it was May 2021, and been using the things I've learned not only in business here in Bangkok, Thailand with my coffee company, but also now I teach full-time at an international school. So I'm using a lot of things that I learned through that program to now give back to young people, which is really a fun thing to do. So.
Very impressive. Thanks a lot, Jason. Wisdom, if you can also please introduce yourself and tell us what Nexford program you're studying and where in the world you are.
Hi, everyone. I'm Wisdom Ofori from Ghana, Accra precisely, and I'm taking my BBA with Nexford University, and I'm looking forward to specializing in artificial intelligence. And also, I'm a graphic designer, and I'm a CEO of Design Plus Graphics, which I launched somewhere last year. And I'm hoping to give you some advice and share with you some of my experiences. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks a lot, Wisdom. All right. Now that we've got everybody introduced, I think we can officially start the tour. Again, fast reminder, guys, this is being recorded. And please send in your questions to the Q&A section or the Q&A box so that we can answer your questions at the end of the webinar. All right, and I'll start sharing my screen so you guys can see how the online platform looks like. All right, I believe everybody should be able to see my screen right now. So what you're currently looking at is the online platform at Nexford. We use a learning management system, or for short LMS, that's called Canvas. If you haven't heard about it before, this will be a great first experience for you. It's super user-friendly, and Canvas is known to be adopted by top universities like Harvard and Oxford. And the great thing about it is that it's not only online, or you don't only need a PC or a laptop to be able to use it. There is also a mobile application called Canvas Student. So once you apply at Nexford and you get your login credentials, all you'll need to do is download this application, whether you're using an Android phone or an iPhone. You can download the application, just look for Nexford University, and then log in with your login information. And it'll be that easy to be studying on the go, to checking your mobile app for how you're doing your courses, what are your grades, you can check your calendar, you can send messages, and so much more. So again, we're in the homepage again here. So like I said, you get access to this online platform once you get enrolled at Nexford. So I will be covering today more about the process of applying as well as enrolling at Nexford. What's the difference between the two? How do you meet the next deadline? When do our programs start, and so on? Because I know that there can be some confusion when it comes to this, especially that these are not done so traditionally at Nexford, in the sense that we don't have semesters or where there are only maybe 2 intakes in the year. So we accept learners every single month. So that means that anytime you can enroll at Nexford and you can choose a program start date that suits. So once you do, let's say you've enrolled, you've applied, you've paid at least the first program tuition that you have, you can get early access to the online platform before your course even starts. And the great thing about that is that means you have all the time to navigate through the online platform, get used to everything and all the different features, as well as start your NXU orientation. So the NXU Orientation is kind of a short course. It's like your welcome package. Once you get enrolled at Nexford, you'll need to complete it before starting your official program. We will get into the orientation today, and I'll show you a bit about it so you can learn what the orientation is all about. But aside from completing the orientation, you will also get early access to all the learner benefits. And that includes things like LinkedIn Learning. You can check our NXU library, writing lab, and so much more. So we'll get into that as well, hopefully, in our webinar today. But first things first, let's actually start with the NXU orientation. So if you were to open that, you'll see that all the courses at Nexford are kind of set up in the same way. You'll have like a table of contents here. You'll have the module section. So for here, the modules are actually only 3. And there's an introduction, right? 3 modules, and then a closing. Whereas every other course at Nexford you'll see is composed of 6 modules as well as a final project. And so they're all set up in the same way. Every single Nexford course is designed to take you a maximum of 8 weeks to complete, whereas the orientation, as you can see, is much shorter. So we're going to jump into the introduction part of the orientation. Right from the beginning, you'll see that you get a welcome video from our founder and CEO, Fadil Tarzi, and he tells you a bit about the mission of Nexford and how we got started. So I'd love to play this for you guys just for a few seconds.
It's been said that the future is a convenient place for dreams, so why not dream big? I've always known education changes lives, but I first realized its impact over a decade ago. On my entrepreneurial journey, I saw a gap between the skills of college graduates and the needs of employers. With my own startups, I struggled to find people with the right competencies. For example, I couldn't find a software engineer with effective communication skills. I couldn't find the creative designers who could plan.
Okay, that's just a small sneak peek of the video, guys. Hopefully you can watch it in its entirety once you get enrolled at Nexford and you go through the introduction of the orientation. But I just want to say that this is a small example of the different and dynamic elements through which you're going to be doing your studying at Nexford. So it's not just going to be a lot of text. We don't want our learners falling asleep. You'll find there are videos, embedded videos like these. Sometimes there are YouTube videos. There are blog length articles, little exercises, there are embedded audio clips, and so much more. So there's always something to keep you engaged. And you'll see for every video, there's a written transcript that you can download, which can make things, of course, super easy. And as you keep going through the introduction and the orientation in general, we'll start telling you about all the different things you need to know to succeed through the online platform, things you can join from the beginning that's going to help you with your learning, such as our learning communities, which are led by other Nexford learners, which are also industry experts, and they cover many different industries. So depending on what you're interested in, for example, if you're into entrepreneurship or perhaps finance or HR or marketing, then I would definitely recommend you joining these learning communities from the beginning. Alternatively, we have learner WhatsApp groups, and so we have so many that are getting started up every month or so. You'll see that they can be country specific, learner specific, or intake specific. You can even start up your own WhatsApp group. These study groups are super helpful, and so I also recommend you don't miss out on doing that from the beginning. And as I keep going through the orientation, we'll tell you more about the different benefits you get. You get to complete the university starter kit, so you learn all about our policies. You learn about how to add more than one course at the same time. Yes, that is possible at Nexford, and that allows you to finish your program faster. So anybody can finish faster or slower, depending on how many courses you're able to take at the same time. That is also dependent on your grade, for example. Here you learn about how the courses are ordered, whether you need to take a break from your program. That is possible as well. You can take a leave of absence. You'll learn about, participation deadlines, assignment deadlines, and all the important things that you need to know as you're going through your course. And then, as I mentioned a few times about enrolling at Nexford, right, where you get access to the online platforms. Aside from being able to do that and getting, to go through the orientation, you also meet your success advisor. So if you haven't heard about this term yet, a success advisor is somebody who's going to serve as your coach or your mentor at Nexford. They're there to answer any learning related questions that you have, any challenges that you're facing. So we have a full team of success advisors from around the world. You can reach out to them anytime, literally 24/7 access to them, as well as our faculty members. And most importantly, once you get enrolled at Nexford, you actually get assigned a personal and dedicated success advisor, specifically in the first quarter of your program. So even if they're not there with you, step by step, reaching out to you before you even think of reaching out to them, like I said, there's a full team of success advisors that you can reach out to at any point, even if your assigned success advisor is not available. All right, guys, so this is just an example of the orientation. With that, I want to show you how the other kinds of courses look like. For example, like leadership and organizational development. So I mentioned that every other course is designed to have, 6 modules and to take you 8 weeks to complete, right? So that's 2 months. You can definitely finish faster, as fast as 1 month, right? And let's say you're enrolled to start in this course, which is leadership and organizational development. This is one of the MBA courses. And let's say you're enrolled to start for next month and you want to figure out who else is studying this course with you, who's actually teaching the course. So you'll find that the items and the tabs, the table of contents here are a bit different, such as people. If you click on people, that should show you who else is enrolled with you. Of course, this is just a demo account, guys. So normally you would see much more learners and different people here for sure. But for example, you just need to look for a teacher, and that will tell you who's actually teaching this course. So for this one, it's actually Dr. Bill who's with us today. So I would love for him to, take the mic here and tell us a bit about, this course and, what you're expected to learn from this course. How do you go through the assignments and whichever else, whatever else Dr. Bill would like to share with everybody.
Sure. Thank you, Mai. Yeah, this is one of the courses that if you're in the MBA, you're likely to have. And a good chance you'd have me with it. It's one of the earlier courses that is in the program. You can easily see the outline of the courses through our, through our catalog and so on. But the course is really straightforward. There's 2 things that I believe are important for online work, and that is the simplicity of the platform and the availability of the information. About a year ago, under a year ago, we changed to this particular type of platform called Canvas, as Maya had mentioned. And in my opinion, it's one of the 2 that are very, very user-friendly. You can't do anything wrong in it. You can't hurt it. You are invited to explore the entire course when you first sign in. So you'll see under the tabs that Mai just mentioned about the announcements, the modules. Mai, let's take a look at one of the modules just to give an example of what this might look like. Each one has 6. You'll see learning module 1, and it'll tell you exactly what's going on, reinventing challenging and organizational culture, and then a LinkedIn piece to this also. Through this, you'll go through the you'll do your reading, you'll do your research, and then each module has an assignment to it, and the assignments are clearly arranged here. You see here in module 2, you have to do a case study, the case for change. Along from the assignment itself, there's other supporting information throughout each module that can help guide you. Always keep in mind that your professor is your #1 contact for the academic portion of the course. Any questions about the material itself, contact your professor. We respond very quickly. I know I try to do it the same day when possible, particularly questions and answers, because I don't like to hold you up. But you'll see this, and then after you complete the modules, you get feedback from the professor and you move on to the next module. This is true in all the courses. Of course, the content will change. You will see that you have a grades also available to you, that if you were to click on the grade tab, this is where it lists your progress in the course and which assignments you've completed and which ones you have remaining to do. And you see Mai has done very well here in this course, but the information is there. Does it take you a little time to get used to using this? Yes. To those people who have never used the internet for anything more important than maybe TikTok or Facebook, this is not a whole lot more difficult than that. Yes, it's a new platform for you. You'd have to spend a little bit of time getting used to it. But even through our introductory program and in using it, most students I work with are new to the university. And I would think most people feel very comfortable in using this format in about a few days at most. And that's with normal contact. If you were to sit down for 2 hours and hit every button and figure out where things are, you'd have a real good grasp of this. But one of the important things to remember, this is just guidance to your learning. The learning itself is based on the readings and the materials that are provided. You do get feedback from your professor. We're required to give you feedback within 5 days maximum, which is normally 99.9% of the time is sufficient. Rarely does it exceed that. We like to do it quickly. Your professors are always available to you. One of the things I particularly like to do is have one-on-ones with you if you want to, with Zoom meetings or something like that. I do many of them each week. In fact, I have 2 today I'm going to be doing with one learner from Nigeria and one from, I don't know where the other one is from. I didn't write it down. But I personally like to engage in a one-on-one. We have conversations about it, about the content, about the material. This outline here is the review feedback and how it would work. Every module has what we call a grading rubric, which is basically a roadmap to answering your question. Maya is showing you right now these various ones. There's usually 5 of them or 6 of them, depending on the course. 1 or 2 courses have 4, but this is how we rank your answer. On the left column, you'll see the area we're talking about, the requirements of the course. The next one, how did you describe the problem and identify the issue in this case, for example? This is your roadmap to solving the case analysis. So every time you have an assignment, go to your rubrics, read them, because this is what we grade by, the depth of the analysis, the clarity. We do have a writing standard called APA 7th edition. I'm not going to go into it too much right now. It is simply a style and format guide. It's one used widely in the business world, and you would be using it when you do communications in the business world as well. So we go through this whole thing. In terms of support, you have the success team, you have your faculty, you have your advisors. There's just so much that I think available here to you that you'd really have to work hard to get off course. Someone would be here to help you with everything. One of the more important areas that we've come across, and this is not just here at Nexford, but universally, is people's writing styles and writing skills. We have a writing professor, a writing coach who can help you with this. She is excellent. She's happy to spend time with you. If you have any questions about your writing style, it's well worth to spend a session with our writing coach to get the idea of what we're looking for. Don't be afraid to try things. This is school. We're learning things. We try new things. We try different ways to do it. Sometimes you'll really hit it right. Other times you may be a little off. That's where the feedback comes through. But the format of the course is very workable. You're usually accustomed to it in a few days in the first day of the course. And of course, I know this. We work through that the first week or so of the course. The second thing I like to highlight is simply that you're going to learn a lot about the material in the course. There's a lot of information there. There's a lot of exchanging going on, a lot of information. What you're also going to learn is a whole lot about yourself. You're going to find out how you can break your barriers, break your limitations, find out new things. You may find out that the things you already know have names to them or have theories attached to them. So it is an engaging, learningful experience from multiple ways of learning, not just the material. Because I believe anyone with a bachelor's degree or a master's degree should demonstrate the ability to communicate, the ability to write, the ability to read and analyze. That's really what's going on here in the courses. And of course, we have the different topics you can choose from and you can focus in. And I know a lot of times, my final point I'll make before I turn this back to Maya is that life events happen. People get delayed, emergencies happen in families, business requirements all of a sudden appear and you have to get tied up for a few days in a business project, family sickness, whatever. One of the most accommodating things and one of the highlights of what I enjoy here is our flexibility to accommodate such events, particularly as working adults returning to education or re-engaging in education. I, for one, and most of the faculty here have been through this, and we know what it's like when things happen. We work with you. 99% of the issues that come up, we can work around, we can work through it. We know this. We've handled hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students, and each one has a unique situation. We've had, sadness besets a family or something great, whatever it is. We can generally navigate around any particular problem that comes up within the standards of our accreditation. If we are limited, that's probably why, because we have to be accountable for the quality of the education we're delivering. We could talk more about that too for hours, but that's really a brief overlook of the course itself. I'm going to be here throughout this hour, so we'll have some questions and answers later. But please make your questions, and we'll be happy to talk to them in a few minutes. But Mai, I'll turn it back to you now. Thank you.
Right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Bill. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Definitely, you talked about some points I'm happy to expand on a little later on. But since we have covered a bit about the learning experience and the studying styles and assignments and everything, I'd love to have some questions for Jason and Wisdom here. If I can just start with Wisdom, if I can ask you to tell us a bit about your studying style at Nexford, and how do you manage your study schedule around your life?
Thank you very much, Dr. Bill, Dr. Mai. And I love what Dr. Bill said, and it's to be at Nexford University, it's not all rosy. I mean, at times emergencies come through and all of that, but they are always here to help us. They are always here to help us. So my learning style, I'm a freelancer and I do printing as well. So during the day, I don't really have time to go through my modules, learn my courses. So what I do is, when I close from work, that's in the evenings, I try to go about an hour or two on, although at the time, my brain is really exhausted. So I just try to brush through my courses, and then at dawn, that's the following day, I try to learn about 3 to 4 hours. So I wake up very early and I learn 3 to 4 hours, and then so Monday to Friday, that's what I do. Learn in the evening, go through my courses in the evening, and then I go hard at dawn. And then during the weekends, after I'm done with my personal stuffs, and probably in the afternoon, I try to learn about 3 to 4 hours also. And then I like to do my assignment most of the times on Sundays. It actually falls on a Sunday. So at dawn, I wake up early at dawn on Sundays, and then I try to finish up with my assignments. So that's my learning style. At times, emergencies come in, I'm not able to learn, I'm not able to submit my assignments on time, but Nexford University have really helped me. That's with success advisors, and also professors. Professors are always here to help me when I reach out to them if I have any challenges with my courses, personal life and professional life. They are always here to help me. So for now, that's how I handle my study style. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks a lot for sharing, Wisdom. Definitely everybody has their own pace. You need to find what works for you and how you can study around your schedule, around your job, or if you're studying somewhere else, or if you need to take care of your family and so on. So that's the great thing about the flexible pace structure that we have at Nexford, is that everybody can study in a way in their own pace, as long as, of course, they meet their deadlines and they complete every course at least in a maximum of 2 months. But that does allow you the room and the space to finish faster if you want. So thanks a lot for sharing that, Wisdom. I'd love to ask a question here for Jason as well. If you can tell us just some notable things about your experience with assignments and assessments at Nexford, as well as professor feedback.
Yeah, hey everybody. Let me start with the last one first, professor feedback. And I think when I got started with the program, I noticed that there was a great structure in how the assignments came out, and there was always a milestone one. And I was in the MBA program, And I'm assuming the BBA program is similar, but there's always 2 milestones and then there's a final project. And so during those milestones, when I would get professor feedback, I would then apply it to the final project. So that was something I just got used to doing, because that final project is something that you take your milestones and then you assemble them together, and then you have your final project off of that milestone. And so I would just encourage you, as you get professor feedback, if you enter in a program, to use that, and then you can actually make your assignments even better. And then as you turn in your final project, they're even better than they were the first time, especially during the milestones. As far as like the assessments, I didn't really feel that there are ongoing assessments in the projects and writing, but they're not tests. I grew up taking tests a lot in school where you had to memorize things. These are more of these assignments and modules and milestones are teaching you critical thinking skills, problem solving. And for me personally, in my experience in business and even what I'm doing now, super good skills to have. Those are kind of those soft skills that are really good, and you can apply those anywhere. So the critical thinking and problem solving are great. They're built into the assessments, but like I said, they're not the traditional tests where you have to sit down and memorize material and then answer a bunch of questions, things that you memorized. Okay, the tools are at your fingertips. It's all asynchronous. So you can go at your own pace, and once you kind of find that pace, you just stay with that rhythm. And so that was something that was great about the program for me. What was part of the other question had to do with maybe assignment submissions.
Yeah.
I would just encourage you to turn them in on time, because of the classes come every 8 weeks. It's important not to get behind. And so that is also something, if for some reason you have to, take a hiatus or something, Nexford is very, very open to that. And they understand we're all people and we have issues that come up sometimes. So I would just encourage you, if you don't have to take a break, just keep pushing through, and it's definitely worth it. One last thing before I get off this question is, I started off with one module at a time. And so I would do an 8-week class and then start another 8-week class. And then about 3/4 of the way through my program, I felt that I could actually fast forward a little bit. And for me, that helped also save a little bit of money. I had a little extra time. And so then I would overlap different courses. And I got to finish, I think, 2 or 3 months earlier than what I had planned on. So that's something too, as you kind of get in the program and you feel like that you get the hang of it and you're doing good with the pace and getting your assignments in on time, you can then gradually take on a little bit more. But I would encourage you to maybe start with one at a time to start with. So.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot for sharing, Jason. That's some great advice. And definitely that's a thing to note, guys, that if you are able to finish your program faster, you would pay less. So that is the flexible pay structure and affordable tuition structure that we have set up at Nexford. So you only pay for the months you spend studying at Nexford. So not to pressure you, of course, it's still recommended you study at your own pace. But if you are able, as Jason mentioned, able to find that you can add more than one course at the same time, or maybe study at a more, like accelerated structure or pace, then that's definitely recommended. And that means you get to save a little more. All right, I'm going to share my screen again, guys. Let's go through the online platform a little bit more. All right, so we also covered today the writing lab, that's been mentioned. So I want to jump into that, but just before I do, let's just talk a bit about also the success team support. So there is a page here where you can actually book a one-on-one session with a success advisor. So I have mentioned that you get assigned a specific success advisor once you get enrolled at Nexford. But if you don't find them available, that's okay. You can just pick any date. And if they don't happen to be available on that timing, you can pick anybody else. So we have advisors from all around the world. They're going to be equally happy to help you. Just pick a day and a timing that works for you, put in your details and book. And it's that easy to have a one-on-one 30-minute call with the success advisor. That's one way. You'll find that there's this Ask NXU tool that follows you no matter where you are in the online platform as well. If you click on that, in case you have any kind of questions that you feel are quite basic, or you may find the response or the answer to that, we have our FAQs here for any common questions. You don't have to reach out to our team for that. Perhaps you'll find the answer here. And if it still doesn't quite answer your question, you'll even find who else you can reach out to for further information. So there is an email address for most of everyone in the university as well. So not just the booking page, but you can also email our success team, which is our team of success advisors. All right, and so that's one of the many ways. And before I go to the writing lab, the thing I want to cover as well is some of the things in the navigation pane here on the left side, right? So some of the buttons here, of course, account means that you can change some things in your account. Settings, dashboard, if you click on that, it always takes you to the homepage here. And then courses just gives you an overview of all the courses that you're enrolled in at Nexford. So these 4 boxes do represent the courses that you're enrolled in, with an exception to the NXU Orientation as well as the writing lab. So like I said, this is just a welcome package, which we covered today. And the writing lab is a resource that you always have access to as you're studying at Nexford. And I'll get into that in a second, but I want to show you guys the calendar as well. So you'll find in the calendar, you'll find items that get automatically added depending on the courses that you're enrolled in. So these can be, assignment reminders, you can even add your own event, which is great. So you can put in any event you want to do, or perhaps a to-do list, or a to-do item rather. And you can make it much more fleshed out if you like. The calendar, of course, you can sync it with your PC or your laptop or your mobile phone. And that's especially doable, of course, if you download the mobile application, then you can receive notifications for any calendar events straight to your phone, so you never miss out on anything important. And you would have seen in the calendar, they have certain colors, right? The items have certain colors. That's something you can control from the outside. So these are just some sort of fun features you can play around with in the online platform. And then there is the inbox. So this is one of the easiest ways you can reach out to somebody, whether it's a faculty member, a professor, or perhaps another learner. So you also receive notifications for any faculty announcements straight to your inbox. But of course, you can compose a new message. You can select the course that you're enrolled in. For example, let's say Roadmap to Success. Do you want to speak with a teacher? Do you want to speak with a student? Let's say in this case, you want to speak with a student. Pick somebody, write your subject, put in your message, and send. It's that easy to communicate with somebody else through the online platform. Of course, you can use the inbox also on the mobile application. So we're finally here where we can get to talk about the writing lab. But I'm going to put a pause to that for a second. And since I covered all the different ways you can get support from the success team, as well as communicating with them in the inbox, I'd like to shoot another question here to Wisdom, actually. If you can just tell us how have you found the success team support during your Nexford learning journey? And have you been able to reach out to other learners sometimes for help?
Thank you very much. Success team, they have really been supportive to me, especially when I started off at Nexford University. I actually failed my first course, and I was really demotivated, and I thought I couldn't do it because I just enrolled and I have failed my first course. Even it might be easy, meaning if I have failed the first, how can I continue the rest? And I was really demotivated but success advisors reached out to me. That's Dr. Sidi reached out to me gave me some few resources to go through and how to manage my time and set priorities for my academics and then also my professional life. And I was motivated to come back again, and then I retook the course and I had an A. So such advisors have really been helpful, and I've been at Nexford for almost a year now. I think 1st December will be 1 year being at Nexford University, and they've always been helpful throughout my journey. And when I had financial issues, I reached out to them, and then they gave me some options to go through. And when I had academic issues with my courses and my final projects, they were always there to help me. Thanks so much to Dr. Camille, Dr. Sedi, and Dr. Krisha, and a whole lot of them. I'm really grateful for what they've done. They are always supportive. Thank you very much.
Amazing. They'll be super happy to hear those shout outs, the success advisor and professors for sure. Thank you, Wisdom. So Jason, since I know it's, you studied quite a while back also with Nexford. So I'm curious, have you had the chance to make any friends with Nexford learners around the world, or had any sort of networking opportunities?
Yeah, so because I'm located in Bangkok, there's not a lot of Nexford learners who live here. However, we're all online, and one of the benefits to the Nexford program was the LinkedIn Learning access, which I'm actually still, it's free with Nexford, but I've continued. I really enjoyed it so much just because of the skills building that it helps on the side, and it's such a compliment to their program. I've continued to pay for that personally. And so for me, I use LinkedIn to just connect with people from around the world, especially if you're a Nexford alumni or a learner. You can find me on LinkedIn, connect with me. If there's cool things that you're doing, shoot me a message. There's lots of great, I just feel like LinkedIn's a great professional networking type tool, especially after you've graduated from Nexford, from one of their programs or something. So feel free to reach out to people. Don't be afraid. We're all within reach, right? So, and no question is, you can ask anything about our experience with Nexford, what we're doing now. You can kind of see some of the things I'm doing personally now through my LinkedIn access. So, yeah, for me, that's probably right now, because I'm mostly a year out of it. That's the way I stay connected to people. So.
Fantastic. I love that you've said that. Jason, definitely I'll tell everybody a little more about LinkedIn Learning today as well, and how everybody can benefit from that. And I've loved that you've continued with that. You found the benefit with LinkedIn Learning, and I completely recommend that to any aspiring learners as well. Okay, I'll share my screen again, guys. I'm wondering if Wisdom, would you like to add something? I can see that you've raised your hand.
Yes, I would want to
Go
add
ahead,
something. Yes, that's I was able to network with some few Nexford learners. That's some few learners I started off with, and some also who have graduated already. And I think about 2 of them who have graduated already, and then some few who we are all still learning. And it has been a great journey, because at times I feel stuck during my courses, and I reach out to them, they give me some few explanations, and I'm good to go. And I've been able to network with some few that we are building up some projects, personal projects that we are working on. And I'm hoping the future is bright. Yes, thank you very much.
Amazing. I'm so glad you were able to have those opportunities, Wisdom. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, I'll share my screen again, guys. And so we're nearing towards the end of the webinar, by the way, guys. So please get in your questions. Make sure to send them in the Q&A segment, so that we can easily get to your questions and we don't lose them in the chat. However, we do have an expert advisor on board with us in the webinar today. So you'll see that she's been helping out answering your questions as well. But hopefully we can answer some of your questions live at the end of the webinar. So just don't forget what you'd like to ask us. It's a great opportunity that you've got us all on board today. Okay, finally, the writing lab guide. So this, if you click on the writing lab, like I said, it's always there. So this doesn't have, any sort of deadline. It's a resource that you always have access to as you're studying at Nexford. If you click on it, you start with a couple of announcements here, which are the same announcements you would have seen that you received in your inbox, and I'll tell you what those are about. But if you scroll to the bottom, you get, an introduction to the writing lab and what it's all about. Dr. Bill earlier mentioned that there's something called APA formatting. So that is a type of formatting that you'll need to be using for your assignments at Nexford. You may not have used it before. So you're going to learn all about it today. Also, how to improve your English skills and academic writing. You'll find all the tips for that in the writing lab. So if you go to the module section, you'll find it covers so many different topics. There are tips on paraphrasing, English grammar, for example, paragraph structure, and then we have a couple of FAQs. So if this doesn't answer your question still, you can book a one-on-one session, quite similar to the one-on-one booking page that we had for the Success Advisors. You'll find one also for our writing lab coach, Caroline Fernandez. So she's lovely and super helpful. You can learn a bit about her here, and then you can just click on this link. It'll take you to this booking page, like I mentioned. Just pick a timing that suits you as well, and you'll have a 30-minute call with Caroline Fernandez. So that is about the writing lab, guys. And I want to mention the announcements that you do receive on the online platform as well as in your inbox. So if you would rather join a call with other learners from around the world, then she regularly holds these drop-in sessions, which can be attended by maybe up to 100 learners at a time. So she does send out these announcements for them if you do wish to join these, these sessions. You'll find that sometimes she'll let you know what area she's covering in the sessions. She'll have information for you here. There will also sometimes be a PowerPoint presentation that she'll share. And the great thing is that these sessions are recorded, so you can watch the playback of it. And I'm sure that'll be super helpful for you, when it comes to writing in general. And it's a great opportunity also to meet and hear from other learners from all around the world. So that is the writing lab, guys. I think it's time for me to jump into some of the learner benefits, namely LinkedIn Learning. So you'll find that there's a button for that here. As an expert learner, you do get unlimited access to over 16,000 LinkedIn Learning courses and videos, and they don't necessarily have to be topics that are related to the course that you're studying or the program that you're studying at Nexford. But as you would have seen today, when we were going through some of the courses or the modules, you'll see that we've put it there sometimes for you as a suggestion when it is in fact related to the module that you're studying. So it can be there for additional learning if you want to take a LinkedIn Learning course or video. The great thing is you do receive a certificate of completion. Our learners love this benefit a lot, as Jason also highlighted today. So you can add this to your CV or your resume. It shows, employers or just your community that you're learning on the go. You're always adding new skills, and you're not just waiting to complete your Nexford program to apply them. You'll find a ton of different topics. Definitely, I recommend you look into LinkedIn Learning. All right, and aside from that, we have the NXU library, which is a robust library at Nexford with over 60 million resources that cover so many different topics and industries around the world, as you'll see here. So you'll find there are like encyclopedias, research papers, articles, and so much more. So of course, you get access to this as well throughout your whole learning journey. All right, and then I would love to tell you guys about our career services. So LinkedIn Learning for sure is one of the many ways you can, get advice or receive, extra skills that can help you with your career. And also, if you're based in Africa, you get access, unlimited access also to IBM Digital Nation Africa. So this is more, it has more tech related and AI and programming and cybersecurity related programs if you're more interested in that area. We also offer Localized. That is one of our many offerings with our partnership with Localized, where you can create a profile for yourself and you can get connected with career coaches and mentors around the world. You can even join virtual job fairs. So I truly recommend you check out Localized as well to learn more about that. And as you go through the career page here, you'll learn about things like when is the first time you get your first, career planning session. For example, if you're studying our MBA, that will be during your 3rd month learning with us. We can help you with everything, and how to set up your CV, how to apply for interviews. You get all that type of help through our different career services. And we also have something called the Global Grid. So you'll see that on this page as well. And you can visit, nexford.org/career/the Global Grid. That is where you can learn more about this initiative, which we launched earlier in the year. It's a mentorship program which can enable talent around the world to prepare for remote jobs. You'll find that there are webinars that are, accessible to anybody. So we do announce these webinars when we hold them. You can find that out on our events page, or if you're already in our mailing list. Otherwise, we do have these group mentoring sessions, which are exclusive only to Nexford learners. And you'll find that our mentors were handpicked for their industry expertise, and they come from all around the world and also from companies like Samsung and Coca-Cola. You can learn more about the Global Grid here. And finally, there is something also called Forage. If you haven't heard of that, you would have noticed also in the modules, they get added there as a recommendation for you to take, something on Forage if it's related to, let's say, the course or the module that you're studying. So what is Forage? We've partnered up with them earlier in the year also, and it's a career resource that's completely free, where you can get virtual work experience at real companies like JP Morgan and Accenture. And this can complement your learning, of course, as you get to apply the skills that you learn. Plus, you can actually choose to share your task submissions with recruiters, which can lead to interview opportunities for internships. That is one of the many ways you can help improve your career opportunities at Nexford. I think that about covers the virtual tour guides. Of course, there's so much more to unpack and to unravel, but I think we can get to the question segment pretty soon. But before we do, I'd love to ask some sort of final questions to our learners today. If I can start with Wisdom, if you can just tell us a bit about your Nexford learning journey. What were some of your favorite parts so far? What were some of your challenges?
Thank you once again. I'm happy to talk about some of my favorite parts I enjoyed at Nexford University. That's when I had a blog with one of Nexford University's marketing officer that he wrote a blog about me. About myself, which I believe is on Nexford University's website. And I'm glad that was done, and I really enjoyed the process. And also, I'm part of Nexford University's ambassador. That's where learners reach out to me to find out more information about the school and how to start off and how to manage their studies. And I'm always here to help. That's if they need me. And some of my challenges lately, I had some few financial challenge that I reached out to Dr. Sedi. I had a session with him, and he introduced me to a Get Back on Track scheme. That's where I can defer my tuition payment to up to 3 months, and it was really helpful to me. Thank you so much. Nexford University is not going to be all rosy. Like when I started, I thought it's going to be very easy, but then it's not all rosy. It's going to be tough and smooth. You have to enjoy this. You have to enjoy it all, because challenges just broadens you, expands you as a person. That makes you more wiser at each day, every day. So that's it for now. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Wisdom, for sharing that. If you can also just give some sort of final advice for any aspiring learners. Thanks.
Okay, my final advice, I would tell everyone that's aspiring learners and current learners. I like to listen to Les Brown's motivational podcast a lot. That he always says, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing badly. So if you really need it, put in your all. I mean, when I started off, I didn't have this motivation, but upon listening, I like to listen to self-development podcast a lot. So that has been something that has pushed me, some of the things that has pushed me to still be at Nexford now. So if it's worth doing, it's worth doing badly. Put in your all. It's not going to be all easy. It's going to be tough at times. Family issues will come in, emergencies will come in, work stuff will come in, but still you can't give up. You can't give up on this. This is your life. I mean, studies, you can't get away from education. Education is very necessary, especially looking at the age we are in now. I mean, you have to be educated. So what I would say is don't give up. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for the great advice, Wisdom. I'd love to hear from Jason next. If you can just tell us how you think, you know, your Nexford program has changed your life so far.
Yeah, two ways. One's from the past and one's now in the present. The one in the past, I wanted to point this out earlier, but I'm glad I had a chance to now, is when I got into course 2, which was, what was it called? Leadership and Organizational Development. COVID was just starting to shut down countries. And because of my business here in Thailand, I have a coffee business that's located here in Thailand as well as in Vietnam. It really, in that module, it really helped skill me for what I had to deal with personally in my own business. So it was like perfect timing. So I feel like each module, each course really has practical things that you can apply in real time, especially if you're kind of a working professional already. So that's something that happened in the past. And then the thing that's happening right now is I really was interested in the AI, data science, and robotics like focus. And so I kind of ended with those 3 courses in that specialization, mainly because I didn't know a lot about that. And I really wanted to challenge myself in that area. And because of those 3 courses, it really got my interest peaked in those areas. So now I'm building curriculum for high school students here in Thailand that's based off of what I learned in those courses. So that's the stuff that you're learning, the stuff that I learned just keeps giving back to me, which is great. So those are 2 really important things that I feel like have really changed kind of my outlook and what I'm doing now. So.
Amazing. I'm so glad to hear that. Definitely, I think the learning opportunities and applying your skills, like they never end. The fact that you can do that, you know, a year after your program is amazing. So Jason, have you got any final advice for our current and aspiring Nexford learners?
Kind of what Wisdom said about the education part. Education is such a tool you can invest in yourself with. You can take it wherever you go, whether you switch jobs, move to a different country, or, you know, whatever changes you're going through, that's always with you. So I would just encourage you to keep investing in yourself, and education is a great way to do that. There's another thing I like to kind of remind other people about, especially like my employees and as well as students that I have now, is I give them this idea about this 200% rule. And I talk about this idea that if you go into something or start something, use 100% of your brain and 100% of your heart. And when you enter into that, really know that it's you need both your heart and your mind in it. If you have one without the other, it's not going to be a balanced way to enter through that. And so that 200% rule is really something that I kind of live by, and I try to encourage others to live by too, is really put your heart into it and put your mind into it. And those things that have been given to us, we should use them. So if I could just encourage you in that way, hopefully that gives you a little encouragement. So thank you.
Fantastic. That's some great advice. Thanks a lot, Jason. All right, I think that about wraps up the webinar, guys, but we can finally take some questions, so that's great. Let's start with the couple I can see here in the Q&A section. So we have a question here from Silhouette who says, how is the MBA course assessed? How is the online MBA different to if you were to go to classes on campus? I don't know if Dr. Bill, can you help me out with this question? I feel like more information for this.
Sure, and it's a very good question because there is a line between on-campus learning and online learning. The material is pretty much the same. I mean, we use the same materials, the same references, textbooks. The information comes from the same textbooks that are used by thousands of universities. The difference being is in the way it's communicated and the way it's reviewed. You mentioned assessments. You receive a review on each of your assignments by the professor. And this is done in our world, it's called asynchronous, meaning the professor's in the course room at one time of the day. The learners are in the course room at a different time of the day, but the professor can go back and see your work at his time schedule, and the learners can contribute it on their time schedule. That's the major difference. And the only other difference is sometimes the lack of a face-to-face communication, which so many people as humans we become accustomed to. Now, each month, each professor is responsible to hold an open session for everyone to attend, answer questions, talk about issues, problems, whatever. And most of the professors I know, like me, use the ability to have Zoom meetings and one-on-ones to communicate. Sometimes we get to a sticky point, you don't quite get it. We spend a few minutes on a Zoom meeting. You know, 5 minutes on a Zoom meeting can cover like 30 emails often. So we kind of use these different tools to communicate. Of course, the bottom line of learning is the transfer of communication and information. And the classroom is one format to do that, and online is another format to do that. And we use Canvas as our toolbox, as our work area to do that. So the exchanging is taking place in a digital media rather than driving to a classroom and sitting down. But we do have that once a month session where you bring your questions and the professors answer them and we talk. They can do it, and you can have more than them too. And I invite you to do that if you like.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Bill. All right. We have a question for Wisdom actually here. How do you manage the time difference, countries, time zones, and does that impact your studies?
Actually, yes. Mostly on Sundays, I have to submit my deadline is around 3:59 a.m. That's at dawn. And at times, yes, but what you have to note is you have to try as much as possible to study ahead of time, and also submit an assignment ahead of time, about a day or 2 days ahead. With that, you don't have any problem. You don't have to wake up at dawn. That's if you're not a dawn type, a dawn person. You don't have to wake up at dawn to work on your assignments or submit assignment at that time. So always try as much as possible to cover your course materials ahead of time. So just in case something happens, you still have more time to do other additions. Thank you. I hope that helps.
Definitely, I'm sure it does, Wisdom. So also I'd love to just clarify and add to that there aren't specific times of the day to study at Nexford. So that is one thing that can definitely help with the time zones as well. As long as you're sure about when the assignment deadlines are and you're able to meet those, it's up to you when to log in to study during the day or during the week, so long as you meet those deadlines. Okay, I see another question here from Mandy. Are there live classes or only recorded? So there aren't live lectures, and like I said, there aren't any fixed, class times. You'll learn in many different ways, some of which we were able to show today, but there are also live engagements, discussion forums. You'll find case studies like we showed today. There are, of course, videos, blog posts, news articles. So there's always something, there to keep you engaged. So like I mentioned, there aren't any sort of live lectures that you need to watch. So I hope that answers your question, Mandy. You can, of course, have calls also, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Bill, but you can have calls with faculty also. Okay, fantastic. All right, here's a question from Evelyn who's saying, are the graduations physical? If I nominate to graduate in Washington, D.C., how much notice do you give successful graduates? Graduates. Okay. So we do plan to hold a yearly graduation ceremonies. We have had one in Washington, D.C. just recently last September. So I believe it will be every year around the same time. So whether you have graduated, in January or March or, just in July, you can definitely come and attend the collective, I would say, graduation ceremony. So you don't have to have just graduated right before September. I'm sure there's going to be ample notice, but just keep that date in mind from now then, that that it should be around September. We also had a graduation ceremony locally in Nigeria last September as well. So I would say look at that month, throughout each year. I think we've had it in a different month before in the past, in Egypt as well. I think it was in October. So it can vary. Just I would say, just ask our team at any point, whether you want to reach out to our help team at help@nexford.org or WhatsApp, or you can ask your success advisor or our success team. So there's anybody you can ask in the organization. We're going to be able to get you that information about when our graduation ceremonies would be. Okay, another question from an anonymous attendee about how is the MBA program assessed? So I think Dr. Bill covered that part earlier, but then you're also asking, how intense is the course considering working a full-time job and a family with kids? If you don't complete within 18 months, what happens? Jason, do you mind helping out with this question? I mean, I'll help you out just at the beginning, just to clarify that anybody can finish faster or slower at Nexford. So it depends on your pace. If you can't do it in 18 months, you can do it more than 18 months. You can do it less than that. It's definitely possible, I think, to work around your schedule and your family, but I'd love for you to share some insight as well about this.
Yeah, so my experience, and it's not going to be for everybody's experience, but what I found was typically every week was not the same for me, because you're juggling family obligations. In my instance, had a business. It looks like you're working full time as well. So you're going to have to find kind of those carved out moments in every week that you'll have to jump in and do that studying. It's some weeks it's easier than others, obviously. So it's like every week just seemed different for me. And I feel like that's probably the experience of many people that would be in our situation, is that it's not necessarily super consistent. But I did have to become a lot more disciplined with my time. I did have to say no to some things that I really wanted to do. And knowing that there was the end in sight, and I knew that I would, finish with a degree. And so that was a great prize at the end. So just keep that, I guess, prize in your eyes and know that that's coming, and just keep pushing through. And I just encourage you to do that. And it's definitely worth it. So hopefully that helped a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Jason. Hey guys, I know we're running over here, so anybody who's still with us on the call, thank you so much, for staying the extra time. I don't believe we're going to be able to cover all the questions today, but I know that the next advisor we have on board has been doing her best as well to answer your questions on chat. So if you have any additional questions, you can just send them in at help@nexford.org, as you can see also on the chat. We also have a WhatsApp number that you can reach out to us. So we'll share that on the chat as well. I just want to quickly cover one last question I can see here from Samuel, in case anybody is wondering about this as well, because I don't think we talked much about admission requirements today. So they do vary depending on what you're applying to at Nexford, right? So if, for example, you're applying to an undergraduate program, whether that be our Bachelor of Business Administration degree program or BBA, or perhaps it's a short certificate or single course at the undergraduate level or the intermediate level, then you need to have at least a high school certificate, or what is equivalent to a high school certificate, to be eligible to apply for our undergraduate programs. And then you build from there. So for example, you want to study a graduate program or our MBA program, then you actually already need a bachelor's certificate or something equivalent to a bachelor's degree. Right. So that is just one of the basic requirements. Of course, you need, valid identification. You need to pay a one-time $20 application fee. If you have your transcripts, that would be super helpful to send that in. And of course, we just need proof of English proficiency. And there are many ways that you can prove that, whether you have already studied completely in English in your previous school, or perhaps you've already taken something like an IELTS English proficiency certificate or otherwise. So there's a ton of ways that you can prove that. So to sum it up, basically, those are the basic admission requirements, and they vary from one program to the other, especially the level at which you're applying. So just reach out to our team. We can list that out for you. We can send you the link to apply. We can help you out throughout, the whole application process if you're facing any challenges. All right, guys. So I think that is it. I really hope everybody has enjoyed the webinar, and I'm so sorry if we weren't able to get to all of the questions, but please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. You'll find our team of advisors are on board and ready to help. And so I can't wait for everybody to start learning with us, hopefully in our next intake. And if not that, then the next. So our programs start every month, but we would love to see you start studying with us on December 1st. Thanks for the lovely people with me today, like Dr. Bill, Wisdom, and Jason. Thank you so much for your time. And again, this is recorded, guys, so you can watch the playback. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Dr. Bill and Wisdom. I think Jason had left already.
Thank you. Good luck to everyone. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. See you guys.
Everyone. Bye.